The lumbar nerves are the 5 pairs of spinal nerves emerging from the lumbar vertebrae. They are divided into posterior and anterior divisions. Structure. The lumbar nerves are spinal nerves which arise from either side of the spinal cord. The lumbar spinal nerves arise from the spinal cord between each pair of spinal vertebrae and travel through the intervertebral foramen. The nerves then split into an anterior branch, which travels forward, and a posterior branch, which travels backwards and supplies the area of the back. Posterior divisions. The middle divisions of the posterior branches run close to the articular processes of the vertebrae and end in the multifidus muscle. The outer branches supply the erector spinae muscles. The upper 3 spinal nerves give off branches to the skin. These pierce the aponeurosis of the latissimus dorsi at the lateral border of the erector spine muscles, and descend across the posterior part of the iliac crest to the skin of the buttock, some of their twigs running as far as the level of the greater trochanter. Anterior divisions. The anterior divisions of the lumbar nerves, Latin, rami anteriors, increase in size from above downward. The anterior divisions communicate with the sympathetic trunk. Near the origin of the divisions, they are joined by gray rami communicantes from the lumbar ganglia of the sympathetic trunk. These rami consist of long, slender branches which accompany the lumbar arteries around the sides of the vertebral bodies, beneath the psoas major. Their arrangement is somewhat irregular. One ganglion may give rami to 2 lumbar nerves, or one lumbar nerve may receive rami, branches, from 2 ganglia. The first and second, and sometimes the third and fourth lumbar nerves are each connected with the lumbar part of the sympathetic trunk by a white ramus communicans. The nerves pass obliquely outward behind the psoas major, or between its fasciculi, distributing filaments to it and the quadratus lumborum. As the nerves travel forward, they create nervus plexi. The first 3 lumbar nerves, and the greater part of the fourth together form the lumbar plexus. The smaller part of the fourth joins with the fifth to form the lumbosacral trunk, which assists in the formation of the sacral plexus. The fourth nerve is named the nervus furcalis, from the fact that it is subdivided between the 2 plexuses. Divisions. First lumbar nerve. The first lumbar spinal nerve, L1, originates from the spinal column from below the lumbar vertebra 1, L1. The 2 terminal branches of this nerve is the iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal, and the genitofemoral nerves. L1 supplies many muscles, either directly or through nerves originating from L1. They may be innervated with L1 as single origin, or be innervated partly by L1 and partly by other spinal nerves. The muscles are quadratus lumborum, partly. Iliopsoas muscle, partly. Second lumbar nerve. The second lumbar spinal nerve, L2, originates from the spinal column from below the lumbar vertebra 2, L2. L2 supplies many muscles, either directly or through nerves originating from L2. They may be innervated with L2 as single origin, or be innervated partly by L2 and partly by other spinal nerves. The muscles are quadratus lumborum, partly. Iliopsoas, partly. Third lumbar nerve. The third lumbar spinal nerve, L3, originates from the spinal column from below the lumbar vertebra 3, L3. L3 supplies many muscles, either directly or through nerves originating from L3. They may be innervated with L3 as single origin, or be innervated partly by L3 and partly by other spinal nerves. The muscles are quadratus lumborum, partly. Iliopsoas, partly. Obturator externus, partly. Vasti, key myotome, adductors. Fourth lumbar nerve. The fourth lumbar spinal nerve, L4, originates from the spinal column from below the lumbar vertebra 4, L4. L4 supplies many muscles, either directly or through nerves originating from L4. They are not innervated with L4 as single origin, but partly by L4 and partly by other spinal nerves. The muscles are quadratus lumborum, gluteus medius muscle, gluteus minimus muscle, tensor fasciae lati, obturator externus, inferior gemellus, quadratus femoris, tibialis anterior. Fifth lumbar nerve. The fifth lumbar spinal nerve 5, L5, originates from the spinal column from below the lumbar vertebra 5, L5. L5 supplies many muscles, either directly or through nerves originating from L5. They are not innervated with L5 as single origin, but partly by L5 and partly by other spinal nerves. The muscles are gluteus maximus muscle, mainly S1, gluteus medius muscle, gluteus minimus muscle, tensor fasciae lati, tibialis anterior, tibialis posterior, extensor digitorum brevis, extensor hallucis longus.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.